Hello students, I, Ms. Pooja Kalange, Assistant Professor IICMR MCA, welcome you all to this video lecture on data warehousing. This is the agenda. In today's lecture, we will be seeing the basic properties of data warehouse, and then we will be seeing the basic concept of OLAP and the difference between OLTP and OLAP. So basically, what is a data warehouse? Data warehouse is a term which was coined by W.H. Inman in the year 1992, which states that data warehouse is subject oriented, integrated, time variant, and non volatile collection of data which helps in decision making process. So broadly you can say that data warehouse is a big database or a large database which helps in decision support of an organization. So it is different from the organization's operational database. So it will automatically support information processing, which will eventually help in consolidating the data, that is integrating the data, and gathering the historical data for data analysis, and this will eventually help the business for having some decisions which can help them in gaining maybe profits or gaining some market, you can say gaining some market profits or market sales, which will eventually help in increasing the profits and the market sales. Okay, so this is basically the use of data warehouse. So basically, as I told you, data warehouse has four properties. So we will be seeing one by one different properties of data warehouse. Data warehouse is subject oriented. Now what this means? Data warehouse is organized around the major subjects, like the subjects which will help eventually in increasing the business, like customer, products, which will eventually result in sales. So basically it will focus on modeling and analysis of data which will help the decision makers to take some decisions for a particular business case. So this is not on daily operations or transaction processing, but it will be based on the analysis, what analysis is being done. So therefore when it is subject oriented, it will provide you a simple view of what are the particular subjects, what are the issues related to that subject, and only taking that data which is important to that particular subject. Next, data warehouse is integrated. Now data warehouse is integrated means what? The data comes from various data sources. These various data sources or different data sources are called as heterogeneous data sources. So these heterogeneous data sources are relational databases, flat files, online transaction records. So basically, in order to integrate, that is to combine all this heterogeneous data, we need data cleaning and data integration techniques, which is further a part of ETL process, that is extract, transformation and loading of data, where we ensure the consistency of the format. Means what? We try to bring the format in such a way that is corresponding to the legacy format of the data warehouse. So this may include changing the naming conventions, changing the encoding structures and the attribute measures. Next, data warehouse is time variant. Now as you all know that data warehouse is a large collection of database. Its size may be in terms of terabytes. So this may have data which may be stored from last maybe 15 years or maybe last 20 years. So whenever you are going for decision analysis, you can view data maybe of last 5 years. If you want to view data of last month, maybe last year, or maybe last week, last day, anything we can view on this. So basically data warehouse will be a this is a database which will have time variant data. Means what? You can store data across different time horizons, which does not include any you can say everyday update of data. It will refresh periodical data, so the data is being refreshed periodically. So if you want to view data across some timelines, you can view that data. So therefore it is time variant. Means for example, if I am an Amazon manager and I want to see what was the data in last 10 years, or what was the sales for the last 10 years, what was the sale for last 5 years, what was the sale for last 1 year, or what is the current day sale, you can see all the data. Okay, so that is the basic thing. So here the key operational thing is what? It is a time element. Means what? Data warehouse will depend on the time horizon. Now data warehouse is non-volatile. Now what is meaning of volatile? Volatile means a thing which goes on or gets erased very easily. But in case of non-volatile means what? It can be stored for a longer period of time, that is persistent or durable. So basically data warehouse is a physical separate store of data which is actually totally different from the operational database. So in this case there is not as I told you previously, the updates do not occur every time. They will occur maybe at some period of time. So it does not require the concepts of operational database like transaction processing, concurrency, recovery. It only requires two things to be done. One is initial loading of data, as I told you, when you'll be following the ETL process, and next is access data. In access data you'll try to give some permissions based on some query languages, that is the OLAP analytical analysis will be using, and on that base the decision makers can make their decisions for that particular organization. So these are the basic properties of data warehouse. As I told you, first it is subject oriented, second is it integrated, third it is as I told you time variant, and fourth it is non volatile. Now what is the basic difference between OLTP and OLAP? So basically OLTP stands for online transaction processing, whereas OLAP stands for online analytical processing. Now in OLTP the users may be an IT professional or maybe a clerk, but in case of OLAP he is a person who is domain oriented, that is knowledge worker. In case of OLTP the functions involve day-to-day operations, but in case of OLAP it is a decision support system. Now database design in OLTP is application oriented, but database design in OLAP is subject oriented. Now most important thing, the data in OLAP is also in the OLTP is current, up to date, and it is based on relational database. But in case of OLAP the data is historical, it may be summarized, it may have multiple dimensions, it is integrated and consolidated. This is very important property of the data warehouse. Then in case of usage parameter, OLTP has repetitive usage but OLAP has ad hoc usage. Now in case of access property, OLTP has read-write access, whereas OLAP needs lot of scans. Next, the transaction unit of work in case of OLTP is short and a simple transaction, but in case of OLAP there will be a complex query transaction. In case of OLTP the records access may be in number of tens, thousands, but in case of OLAP the records access may be in millions. Then the users of OLTP could be in thousands, but in case of OLAP it could be in hundreds. Now the database size of OLTP is 100 MB to maybe GB, it may extend up to GB, but as I told you OLAP will involve a big data warehouse, so the size of data warehouse may differ from 100 GB to TB. Now the important metrics for OLTP is transaction throughput, and in case of OLAP it is query throughput. Now throughput is nothing but the time required from which the query was sent and the required when the response was received. So the time lag between this request sent and request received is said to be throughput. So that is one important metrics. So these are very important properties, and this is a short note question which is asked in the exam. What is the difference between OLTP and OLAP? So this was the agenda for today. We have seen the properties of data warehouse and what is the difference between OLTP and OLAP. I hope you have understand these concepts. Thank you for watching the video.